If I were Superman, the ancestors would be my source of strength. The pain would be a gift to give to those in need of light. If I am Superman, I am not this body.
I love Dr. Z because she cares for the students. She cared for our education. She cares to build our intelligence of our history.
I love Dr. Z because she challenges how you look at yourself and how you look at the world.
Dr. Z brings awareness to VSU. Like, when you're in her class, the way she just dishes out knowledge with ease, and she just makes the campus more aware of the issues going on and the things that need to be done.
I love Dr. Z because she teaches the truth and she's unapologetic about it. She's not scared.
I love Dr. Z because even though I've never met her, she's never met me. Just every time I see her, I see the love and the peace and how she treats others that she does know. And I know if I was able to get to know her, that she would show me that same peace and love.
I love Dr. Z because she just seems to be just all about the African people and spreading knowledge and love itself. She's able, I would say, she's able to connect on a down-to-earth level with most of the students, and I really appreciate it.
I love Dr. Z because Dr. Z brings life to VSU and she puts life into everybody who needs.
I love Dr. Z's honesty, her genuineness, her kind interest in the well-being of others. You never have to guess where she's coming from. She's the most candid and kindest and compassionate person I've come to know.
Oh man, Dr. Z is a lovely woman, man, who is truly about what she say, you know, and she truly. I love her personally because although I've never been enrolled in a class of Dr. Z, I've had the ability to sit and approach that woman and talk to her just about anything, that I need per se. She's very, you know, she's accessible. She's great, man. That's a great woman.
Dr. Z just because of her vibrant personality, and not only that, but she actually embodies the stuff that she talks about. The high expectation I already had for her. I don't know if she remembered, but the first time I met her, I didn't even know she was her. Her personality spoke volumes to me, and I already knew it was her. And that's just the type of person Dr. Z always is, and that's why we love her.
One thing that I've always noticed about Dr. Z, and one thing that definitely drawn me, or like pretty much brought me closer to her when I first came to BSC, was just her authenticity. You know, just the way she comes off. It's not forced, it's not really fake. She's really real, personable, and it's almost like when you're looking like in her face, like one-on-one, it's like she's making a direct connection to your spirit. It's like she's speaking to your soul. It's not just she's just speaking just for your intellect or just to tell you, well, you know, this is what I think and I feel like you should support my beliefs. No, she's speaking to you, she's giving you different alternatives, she's telling you about advice, she's telling you about her life openly, and she's sharing her love with you and making you feel comfortable. You're just like, wow, like I don't know this woman for a hole in the wall, but she's my family and I love her.
Why do I love Dr. Z? I love Dr. Z because she brings that realness and she's honest. She blunt, she tell you how she feels. She the only teacher I'm going to remember for 10 years from now. The only teacher. My first experience with her, I had a project. It was a presentation, and she fried my shit. That's why I love her, because she just speaks the real.
I love Dr. Z because she's honest, she's genuine, and everything she says has an effect on everybody, even if it happens now or later. And that's Auntie. Like, she's my auntie since the first day I had class with her.
Oh, I love Dr. Z. Do you got enough time on that camera? I love Dr. Z because she's the epitome of a phenomenal woman. She's a queen, a warrior, a soldier, and every day she puts her life on the line for the freedom and liberation of others. Personally, she has helped me grow over the last 6-7 years as a man, as a king, and I mean, that sums her up for me. She's just phenomenal and awesome. Love you, Dr. Z.
I love Dr. Z because she makes me look into myself so I can know who I am and to get to know me as a person, you know, and I never had someone to take interest
into getting to know myself. It sounds kind of weird, like asking who are you? And you're saying, well, yeah, I'm this and I'm that, but it's like, who are you really? You know what I'm saying? I never thought about that until I got to meet her and to be in her class. I never had a teacher who I look up to, and I love her. Like, she's so dope. She's dope.
I would not let the kryptonite destroy me. I would not let the villains ignore me. I would not let the struggle win. This way of life is tiring. This body is a prison. My freedom is the knowledge I'm living. Severe oppression almost always breeds resistance, but I will fight for the melanin in my skin. If I were Superman, I would still try to be human. Even if they knew I was incredible, I would not let them push me up on that pedestal. I would want to walk among them like I love them and we come from the same God. Like the answering machine of the ancestors, I would keep their messages. And you heard it when they said it, if something is ever chasing you, you better run in the direction of freedom. The path that we walk is teaching. And if I were Superman, I would not want to be a bird feeder of information. I would sow the seeds. I would water the trees and watch them bloom like my babies. I am a botanist sowing seeds at Virginia State University.
I don't, personally. Nah, but on a serious note, I met her my sophomore year. A friend of mine introduced me to her after I was speaking about the Civil War in class, and he asked me if I knew Dr. Z. I told him I didn't, so he invited me to a night class he had. It was African American Women in Society, and I sat in on that class, and I heard her speak, and man, it was just one of those things I knew it was meant to happen. You know, like everything lined up perfectly for me to actually meet her. And we spoke for about an hour after class. And since that day, you know, I mean, we just been super close, you know. And she's the kind of person on campus that people go to for things outside of class, you know, outside of schoolwork, outside of things on the university. She's somebody that gives you advice that betters you not only as a student, but as a person. And it's hard not to love her if you actually know who she is and spend time with her, and, you know, and embrace what she's trying to offer you. So it's a lot to love.
First experience with Dr. Z, actually it was my first semester here. I had heard her name, you know, around campus, and they were like, you know Dr. Z? I was like, no. So it compelled me to go on YouTube. I found this video of her on YouTube teaching one of her race and ethnic relation classes. And, you know, on my road to consciousness, you know, I had a couple professors back in the day, you know, who tried to get me on the path. And when I seen her video on YouTube, I was like, that's the one who's gonna help me finish. You know, she's amazing. You know, like I can't explain like what she's done or what she was able to do in the year that I've known her in my life. You know, like I see things so much more clear now. And like anytime, you know, she's around, you just can't help but be around her. You know, her spirit is just amazing. She's just an awesome person. It's really a privilege to know Dr. Z. It's really a privilege to know Dr. Z.
We love Dr. Z because she has the ability to touch everyone. She's honestly a genuine person, and her spirit you can't describe it. She's just that much of an amazing person and personality where she just touches everyone and loves everyone.
Why do I love Dr. Z? Dr. Z is a phenomenal woman, man. She's great. She brings awareness. She brings self-assurance. She brings knowledge. Every conversation that Dr. Z and I have had, I've learned something. I've gained something. She's a queen, and she walks in her queendom every day. And she's just a phenomenal woman. She's great. I love her.
She just sets a true example for young African scholars, man, to strive for something better than what the social norm has already told them what life is supposed to be. She's great, y'all.
She brings an abundance of knowledge. Of course, she has her doctorate, and she empowers others to seek something greater than the undergraduate degree. She teaches with a commitment of empowering them to do more than even the student can envision for themselves. And she's right there to support them each step of the way. And it reminds me of the eagle, who at some point allows the eaglets to fly. And so she does went underneath their wings, but many of them have flown because of her commitment and her sincerity in terms of wanting them to excel.
Here at Virginia State, Dr. Z pushes the envelope. She kind of rewrites the standard. She reminds us that here at the HBCU, we have not only a responsibility to be scholars, but to be scholars with our community, our culture, and our ethnicity perspective in mind. And she keeps that at the forefront of her learning, and she helps students keep that in the forefront of her life.
She brings the energy. Us students, we don't always have the energy to go and just think differently, to do different things. And she gives us that knowledge and that power to be able to even spark a conversation with our professors or amongst us, our peers.
What Dr. Z brings to VSU, I can tell you what she brings. Dr. Z brings knowledge, bottom line, knowledge and truth. Truth that a lot of people aren't willing to accept. A lot of people like to call Dr. Z radical, or maybe irrational in their thinking just because she said tries to spread Pan-African knowledge, little historical facts that may be contradictory to what the white system has taught us. But I feel like if you're down to listen and you want to really open your ears and gain some of that knowledge to you, all power be to you and all power be to her for spreading it. She just brings that's all I can say. Just love in general. Love of self, love of other people, love of black people, all that. Just love.
Dr. Z, she brings self-love to campus. She really helps people to be proud of being African. Not African American, but African, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we don't want to identify with that. But once she helps us to understand our history and who we are, where we come from, we were able to say, like, yeah, I'm African and I'm proud of that, and no one can tell me anything else. So I should.
Since freshman year, this is my 5th year, and since freshman year 2011, I've always connected with her because what she teaches on and what she lives by are things that I've been learning from my father since I was born. And so leaving home from New Jersey, coming to Virginia, and being able to attach to a person that had the same ideologies was major for me in these growth stages of my life. That's why I love Dr. Z.
I took Dr. Z's family and marriage class, and there's a lot of things that we learned as far as finding who you are first before you seek, loving others. And I love Dr. Z because she's real. Who doesn't love a teacher who's just real, So that's why I love Dr. Z.
What does Dr. Z bring to VSU? Dr. Z brings love, family, unity. Dr. Z is the universe in university. Dr. Z brings liberation. She brings passion. She brings leadership. She brings the epitome of a phenomenal woman to campus. She brings life to this university. She is the life of this university, in my opinion. And I appreciate her. Love you, Dr. Z.
She challenges the way you look at yourself and the way you look at life in the world. And she's just real. I just love her.
I remember when I was a freshman in her class before, and I was kind of slipping away slipping off. My grades was really low. I think I had like a D at the time, so I was going to talk to her. And the whole time I thought it was like one of those teachers out to get you kind of things, but she wanted to sit me down and actually, she showed me that she cared for me and she's not out to film me. And she also talked about how she saw that I told I was aspiring to be a filmmaker at the time. And she said, well, I never seen you with no camera in your hand, so she's really concrete and motivated me to be concrete about things in my life. So I learned early on how to talk about things, but then go do it. And I definitely took from her to be about action. And that was something, that's why I love Dr. Z on a personal level. And what she contributes to the school is transparency and facts. You can't argue with someone who has facts and nothing that's being opinionated or anything. I think with her, what makes it fair of being a student to her is that I know I'm not getting any biased answers. She's not out bashing one race over another or any of her subjects. She's very accurate in that part. And if she's wrong, she stands corrected, and she will do do her research herself and come back stronger or correct like any other time. But that's where she contributes: transparency, accuracy, and she's not biased at all. We love you guys.
The reason I love Dr. Z is because of how influential she is. In the past couple years that I've been here, she's pretty much become the face of Virginia State, in my opinion. And it's not just about asking her to speak at certain events, it's about the way that she tells us what needs to be done in order to be better. People think of Dr. Z, they think of she's the greatest thing to Virginia State, but people don't take her words into heart and actually take what she says and use it. But when she teaches people, she's so passionate about it, and she wants everybody to come see it, and she loves how people take it and use it in their everyday lives.
Dr. Z brings consciousness to BSU. She brings knowledge to BSU. She brings her. She just brings her. Her energy is enough. She's here at BSU, and I don't know what I would do without her. Knowing her these past 3 years has been great. She's one of the most influential people I know, and I'm blessed to know a person like her. She's Dr. Z, man. What else can you say?
Dr. Z is BSU. She brings the gap between the students and the university. She helps us learn how to express our feelings toward administration. She does so much for the campus, and that's why she has such a huge following here on campus.
Definitely become one of the most influential people to Virginia State. And it's like, you know how Beyonce has the Beehive at Virginia State? It's the Z-Hive. You have to, when you come to Virginia State, you have to listen to Dr. Z speak, or you have to take her class. It's no way around it. That's it.
Dr. Z brings everything. Dr. Z brings knowledge, she brings life, she brings love, she brings peace. It's like BSU wouldn't be BSU without Dr. Z. We love you, Dr. Z.
I get a master's degree, I get a PhD, I become a college professor, I move into Chester County, Chester, Virginia, and I have a house, and my son ain't never been in trouble, and I got a car that look good but it don't ride good, and I look like I got money, but I don't have none, for real. And I arrived. But after enslavement, they never went back and wrote the truth about who you are.
You who are Superman with a cape made of kente cloth, with a balance like the wings of my aunt, try not to save the world. Try to teach the world to save itself. Love this world into re-evolution. Love your people out of their confusion. Love is a verb. Love is an action word, and you are an activist. The revolution needs you. Superman. Asante San. Ashe.
Comes from the knowledge, and knowledge leads to consciousness. People want me to apologize for being black. They want me to apologize for the shape of my lips. They want me to apologize for the swag in my hips. They want me to apologize for being unapologetic in my blackness. But I can't be unapologetic in my blackness because I understand what my blackness means. And I need for you to understand what your blackness means. Not during the month of February where there are only 28 or 29 days that they give you to celebrate who you are and make you believe that your blackness begins with the institution of enslavement where somebody else is dominating the bodies and the lives and the beings of your ancestors. You have to know who you are, because our narrative doesn't begin with Sojourner Truth or Harriet Tubman, even though they are a large part of our narrative. Our narrative begins in Africa. We are the descendants of kings and queens and founders of civilizations, mothers of civilizations. Ladies, we are the descendants of the mother of all civilization, and there are a lot of truths that they don't want to tell you about who you are as a black person, because it defies the myth of white supremacy and all of the other ideologies about your inferiority. You understand what I'm saying? You have to know about Imhotep and Akhenaten, just as you know about Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth. You have to know about Hatshepsut. You have to know about Isis. You have to know about Nzinga. You have to know about Makeda. You have to know about Shaka Zulu. You have to know about the tribes and the civilizations that existed in the land that we come from before we arrived here in the shores of the United States of America. You have to understand that your history does not begin with enslavement. You have to know that your ancestors were stripped from civilizations, not just savages running around Africa, spear chucking and talking about unga bunga, eating each other or eating animals. You have to know that we come from a civilization that's more than 100,000 years old. And once you understand what being black truly means, then you can live and exist in your blackness unapologetically.